Abolish the bonus system to save Taiwan.
大家好，我是退伍军人。
I am a veteran and have been teaching at a military school for 13 years. In the past 2 years, my students have started to ask me, Professor Liu, do you think there will be a war in the Taiwan Strait? Are you afraid? I always tell my students that the highest strategy in Sun Tzu's Art of War is to conquer the enemy without fighting, and that I will stand with them and get prepared. I hope peace will last forever in the Taiwan Strait. That is my sincerest wish, but is it really easy to make it come true? The cover of the May 1, 2021 edition of the British Economist magazine features a picture of Taiwan with the caption, "The most dangerous place on earth." This year, on January 23, World Freedom Day, China sent 39 warplanes into Taiwan's air defense zone. Now, 2 U.S. aircraft carrier groups are drilling in the South China Sea. There are hundreds of thousands of troops near the border between Ukraine and Russia. Once a war breaks out, Taiwan will most likely become a purgatory. At this critical moment, Taiwan's legislative yuan is reviewing the total annual budget of 2.2 trillion new Taiwan dollars, with the total defense budget being an unprecedented 412.7 billion new Taiwan dollars. However, there were young students and citizens in front of the Chuanxian building of Taiwan's legislative yuan. They protested for 4 days over a meager 130 million new Taiwan dollars in bonuses set aside by the Ministry of Finance for tax collection. Why? Here are my observations regarding 3 major aspects. First, bonuses are a breeding ground for corruption. Bjorn Terrace Wahlberg, the founder of the World Taxpayers Association, WTA, criticized the bonus system for tax collection as shameful, and said it should be abolished. Staffan Wenberg, former chairman of the WTA, said bluntly that the tax authorities should serve the taxpayers, and that it is a total mistake to have the bonuses for tax collection, which have caused corruption and conflicts between the tax authorities and taxpayers. In 2021, more than 400 billion new Taiwan dollars was overcollected. In many of our neighboring countries and territories, like Singapore, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Macau, when there are overcollected taxes, they will refund them to their people. But Taiwan's Ministry of Finance regards overcollection of taxes as a great performance. It is regarded as a brilliant tribute to the rulers to show off their performance and abundant revenues to be utilized by them. Money talks. It is no wonder that no matter which political party is in power, no one doesn't love the Ministry of Finance, or I should say, no one is not afraid of the Ministry of Finance. Former Finance Minister Chang Shen-ho, when asked by a legislator about the bonus system in the legislative yuan, even retorted the salaries of the officers are not high enough to support their integrity by saying that he insulted himself and all other civil servants. It is no wonder that in 2004, over 100 legislators, such as Chu Xinyu, finally removed the bonus program for tax collection, which was the legacy of martial law, after a heated discussion. But in 2008, the Ministry of Finance restored it with its administrative guidelines, which lacked legal grounds. Each year a budget for the illegal bonus program was proposed and even passed. The political parties' interests have taken precedence over justice and the interests of the people. Former legislators Huang Wenling and Lo Shulai could not help but reveal that legislators themselves and their family businesses are dependent on the National Taxation Bureau. Additionally, they revealed that, by helping businesses negotiate a lower tax amount, legislators can get financial benefits in return. All these have caused the failure of the legislative yuan's oversight of the executive branch. Overcollection of taxes is like a high-speed train that is out of control and horrifying. Replacing the principle of taxation based on actual taxable income, the so-called principle of taxation based on substantial economy, has been used to issue tax bills based on speculation and guesswork, which is a totalitarian weapon used by the German Nazis to rob people of their property. Huang Kunquan, former auditor of the National Taxation Bureau, has stepped forward to criticize the Taxation Bureau's use of guesswork when issuing tax bills, which shows that there is no need for tax auditors. Ironically, former legislator Huang Quachang received complaints, saying that most of the bonuses went into the accounts of senior government officials, and the grassroots tax collectors only received a box of oranges. Former Finance Minister Wang Qiansan, before leaving office, found an extra 10 million Taiwan dollars in his account, and he returned it without taking a penny. For this reason, the dark bonus program came to light. Ministers, directors general, and directors of various tax agencies get the highest bonus amounts and hold the power to determine whether to grant promotion to their subordinates. High-ranking officials want to get bonuses, so their subordinates have to issue as many tax bills as they can. The result of such a corrupt structure is worrying, isn't it? Second, the bonus system is the source of tax disasters. A friend of mine, who is a judge, said with a heavy heart, "How can an unjustified tax bill be withdrawn and the unjust case be rectified, when the bonuses for issuing the tax bill have been distributed among the officers?" The two international covenants, ICCPR and ICESCR, guarantee people's equal rights to litigation, but the administrative remedy system for tax cases in Taiwan is like sending taxpayers to the hellish and endless cycle of torture. Tax officers issue tax bills, and they have the final say on whether the tax bills are valid, or I should say, they would use guesswork to determine whether the tax bills are valid. If you get an unjustified tax bill of $3 million, in order to prove that the tax bill is wrong, you have to pay $1 million in guarantee before filing a lawsuit. If you can't pay it, you will have to face asset freeze, travel ban, and detention, while it only costs $60 to file such a lawsuit in the United States tax court. In the end, people, like tax slaves, can only hope that the administrative court will help them rectify their cases. A few days ago, legislator Lai Shipao, when questioning the Ministry of Finance, disclosed that the people's success rate in tax litigation is 60% in Denmark, 44% in Germany, and only 0.3% in Taiwan. This is no longer a 90% chance of failure. This is close to a 100% failure. My friend who's a judge also lamented that the most horrifying thing is that most senior judges of the administrative courts are not well versed in tax law, and are unable to make a final decision to settle the disputes for the people. Even if the people are lucky enough to win their cases, the wrong tax bills will be returned to the Taxation Bureau, which issued the tax bills, allowing it to issue similar tax bills, resulting in a horrible and never-ending cycle of illegal tax bills. May I ask, can anyone or any company endure this kind of torture? Therefore, to meet over a cup of coffee has become the best way for taxpayers, accountants and tax officers to negotiate a tax dispute and create a win-win-win situation. Article 19 of the Constitution of the Republic of China stipulates, the people shall have the duty of paying taxes in accordance with law. It means that we should pay the taxes that we are supposed to pay, not a penny less, but we should not pay the taxes that we are not supposed to pay, not even a penny. This is what a law-abiding citizen should do. Now, because the bonus money has been distributed to the pockets of senior officials, and no mistakes can be corrected, the tax system ensures that tax officials have a 100% victory in threatening people to pay unjustified taxes. Taxpayer rights and justice have been seriously violated. From domestic and foreign history, we have learned that when bureaucrats impose excessive and unjustified taxes, the downfall of the dynasty is near. The performance credits and bonuses have stimulated the crazy overcollection of taxes. Pocketing bonus money has been the reason why unjust tax cases have failed to get rectified. Over the past 10 years, the number of new cases of unpaid taxes and government fees pending enforcement has increased by 7.53 times, and in the year 2020, the number of such cases reached 14.31 million. How many of these cases represent tragedies where innocent people died of lost their homes, unable to voice their grievances? Willie Fodder, director of Brussels-based NGO Human Rights Without Frontiers, after studying the Tai Ji Men case, which is referred to as Legal and Tax 228 in Taiwan, seriously pointed out, the system of tax bonuses granted to public servants can lead to undue fiscal and judicial harassment for years and decades. It also proves that this system is a form of organized corruption inside the state, and an abuse of power of their leaders and their staff for personal financial benefit. The bonuses for tax collection, which account for a mere 0.006% of the annual budget, have fed the tax bureaucrats, and they absurdly become the only fat cats in the system of public servants. This bonus system has not only undermined public trust in the government, paralyzed the operation of the constitutional system of 5 powers, but also endangered national security. Can we still take it lightly? Third, the awakening of conscience. All people of Taiwan work together to save the country. The famous historical general, Yu Fei, is regarded as the saint of martial arts, and even the leader of his enemies Jin Wuzu side. It is easy to shake the mountain, but difficult to shake Yu's army. Because the army led by Yu was disciplined and loved the people as their own family members. They did not loot food and they were starving to death, and did not demolish houses when they were freezing to death. Yu Fei famously stated, when civil officials are not greedy for money, and when military officials are not afraid to die for the country, the world will be at peace. I believe that Taiwan's military officials are as determined as I am, to protect our country and sacrifice our lives. But what about the tax officials? With its enemies lurking around, Taiwan could not even implement reform to completely abolish the 130 million new Taiwan dollars bonus for tax collection to end corruption. Can we turn a blind eye to this any longer? Albert Einstein once said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." We urge the Taiwanese government to implement true tax and legal reform. We shall save Taiwan with conscience. At this critical moment, we cannot make it without you. Thank you all.